All right, all right. Welcome back to the Legacy Investor Podcast. I'm here with John Pickell. I met John in like the cafeteria at the Squat Up Summit. So we went to this conference with that Pace Morby and Jamil Damji put on called Squat Up in Orlando, Florida. And I met him and his son Justin, and they're absolutely crushing it. And we've connected because he has a house in Waco, and I've been his boots on the ground a couple times. And so just excited to have you here, man. And I'm going to let you introduce yourself and really just brag on yourself. I mean, tell us what all you're doing, what all you've done, and then we'll get into like more of your story, and then hopefully encourage some listeners to invest in real estate.
Sounds great. Yeah, and leave a legacy of
Yeah,
real estate and in life in general the best you can, getting better every day.
that's right.
So yeah, I'm John Pickell. I'm a father of four, um, a family man. I did get divorced 3 years ago, but I'm still with my wife, my ex-wife. We're still running the whole family life. We just got back from a road trip from Boston, Rhode Island, Maine, Connecticut, New York. So my kids are older. Justin, yeah, as you know, he's in real estate, and he's
Yeah.
the one who really introduced me to this whole networking world and community world, because I was mainly just direct to seller in the mortgage business. We'll kind of start from that for now, let's say. Tell you a little bit about myself and try
Yeah.
to make a long story short with that. Got in the mortgage business at a company in 2003 when my son was on the way. That was after selling home improvement for 6 years, then getting out of sales for 3 years when I was trying to find my way, and had read this one scripture in the Bible, that all labor there is profit. And my sales started slowing down. So I started working at a moving company, and I was thinking like hard labor, just get to work, make a couple $100 a day. And it was cool. I did it. And I just knew when I had a child on the way that that wasn't going to cut it. And I saw the mortgage business was pretty good. I had some family members in it, and they didn't really get me involved. So I worked at a big company myself. It had over 100 people, a lot of college grads, and some Ivy League people in Michigan, Michigan State, which are the top colleges around here, and they're really some of the top colleges in the country overall. And I just battled with those guys, and I really used the three: ask to receive, knock and the door will be open, which I changed to call and the phone will be answered, and then
Love it.
and seek and you'll find. So it was really just constant calling, and the company used to do some power advertising, and then they stopped the power advertising because they had a few bad apples, and they weren't investing that much money in commercials and stuff. So everything became cold calling, and a lot of people were dropping like flies. And I had a son on the way, and I was super aggressive, and I got there early and left late, and became the number one and two loan officer for like a year and 3 months, doing about 10 to 15 loans a month on average. I like the loan business. It's pretty stable and steady, but you still go to sleep thinking about your clients. You're hunting business all day. You're
Mm.
calling leads like trigger leads. So I was bringing in 80,000 a month to the company and making 17%, and I'm bringing home like 15, 10, 15, sometimes 20. Um, so I'm like, man, I could do this on my own, start my own branch, start my own company. I never started a brokerage, but I started a branch and became a branch manager for 5 years, really continuously through 2014. So it was like 10 years, but I'll get to that in a little bit. So I don't want to.
No, that's great. I love it.
It's
Yeah.
a
So,
yeah,
so
man.
how
Go
did you
ahead.
go from the loan officer business to, it sounds like you're buying and holding, you're flipping, you're wholesaling, you're doing a little bit of everything. Sounds
Yo,
like, but correct me if I'm wrong. What all are you doing, and how did
for
you get
sure.
into all of it?
Yo, so it all started with that basically, and I started driving. And after the market crash, I started driving and flying every 2 weeks to Virginia Beach because the market was stronger there, and we were doing refinances and scheduling the appointments from here. There was no online stuff, so you had to do what you got to do to feed your family and keep the lifestyle that you had going, which was a few $100,000 a year and stable and house on a golf course and Escalade. Then all of a sudden, like what you're doing is not happening anymore because the market completely punches you in the face. So did everything possible there. Then my wife got homesick. We ended up living there for a year. Um, in Virginia Beach. That was our only year ever away from Michigan. I'm born and raised here.
Yeah.
And came back on my realtor license. And my plan was to camp out at a realtor license and be around a lot for my kids and maybe work from 10 to 4 and make a good 10 to 20,000 a month on mortgages, because I'll deal with realtors and I'll get their loans and it won't be as strenuous as refinancing. But what I found out quick was realtors don't like giving other realtors loans. So I was doing both. They're so like, they're married to their client, they're married to the whole family, so they're very protective and possessive over that. So I just got thrown to the wolves and did a little bit of buyers, did a little bit of listings, did a little bit of loans. I had flipped a few properties in the 04, 05, 06 range, as well as bought them. Values would be going up every 6 months, so I'd be able to, refinance them, pull a little cash out, consolidate. You're able to do this on investment properties and everything. So jumping forward, 2009, I got my realtor license. I worked at a small office until I switched to a Keller Williams. I became a rookie of the year there. I still really wasn't understanding the real estate business fully until I worked for someone in 2012. And I learned that they were aggressively calling for sale by owners and expired listings. So I did the same. I worked for him. I built up like 30 or 40 listings. I was still working for myself. And then I wanted everyone that was super hungry and aggressive were Keller Williams agents. So I figured, I was thinking about switching names to Remax. I felt they were a little bit classier, and people used to have to pay $1,500 a month to work at a Remax. So if somebody could do that,
Dang.
it's like, yeah, it's pretty crazy. But over time they switched it up, and you're able to take percentages out of your check. So I learned that, and I switched over to a Remax. I built up 30 to 40 listings. I constantly held that average between 20 and 40, because, as you know, the famous line is buyers are liars and sellers are worse.
Yeah.
But there's another line that realtors go by, which is buyers are liars and listing agents last in the business. So once I learned that part of the business, and I was able to carry listings, I didn't have to show houses anymore. I always had like 5 or 10 pendings. I could be on vacation for a week. And I really got that going hard from 2012 to 2018. And I flipped a few houses in 14, 15, 16, like 1 or 2 a year. I'd buy them off hubzoo.com, which I still have, continued on with them. And then in 2019, I had done a wholesale deal with a company called ROI Investments. I think they're still a big wholesale company. And anyways, I looked at the contract. The guy made $5,000. I made $1,500 as a realtor. So it was crazy. So it still didn't sink in for me. I remember back in the day, there used to be these infomercials that you can make money without money. And a lot of people are like, no, you need money, or you need someone with money. But if you understand contracts and you're able to assign them and you're able to be the middleman, you're able to wholesale. So even though time is money, you're actually doing this without money. It's just understanding. So we can get a little farther, but man, I got to let you talk and ask some questions, bro.
No, that's great. That's great. Okay, so just to kind of bring us to the present, I mean, so you kind of went from all that to actually finding deals and assigning them, right?
Yep.
And you started wholesaling hard, like more hardcore than you were
100%
doing the agent thing. Okay.
100%. So, well, I kept the agent thing going, and I still have it going. I'm still averaging between like 4 or 5, 8 million. Was like kind of my like high year, and they're mainly all listings. But in 2019, I had a friend whose house I sold for retail, who was an investor, integrator, engineer, and I started asking him more about wholesaling, and I saw people doing it. So we ended up partnering up. He was the integrator. I'd go to all the houses in Michigan, and I'd go in as the buyer. That's the way wholesaling is. There's a lot of these were properties with renters in them. So you wouldn't go in as a buyer to the renter, but a buyer to the seller. To the renter, you're going in as a contractor, or which I also am a project coordinator. So, I mean, that's true. But they also want you to go in as an insurance man and all these things. But so overall, I instantly hit it off, and I went from, averaging the 150, 200K in real estate commission to adding another 100, 150 right off the bat in wholesaling. And it was just intertwined, and it was really smooth because I started dealing with more distressed sellers. My son Justin was still in high school, so I was doing nothing but wholesaling in Michigan. Then after a little while there, COVID hit, came back. I already had stacked up a lot of different lenders, and I was still doing that same thing. And then I ended up getting to 500 to 600K a year myself without Justin, doing realtor stuff, flips, and wholesaling all combined. So I did that for a couple of years. I finally stopped cold calling because I always felt if I wasn't cold calling and I didn't have business coming in from here or there, that I wasn't like making an effort to create for my family or for my business. And I should have been using more leverage, and cold calling, sucks, but I had to do it with a great attitude for a long period of time to still continue on with the lifestyle the best I can for my family, because the mortgage business was more of a stable business and real estate could be up and down and stuff overall.
Yeah.
So kept that going. And then Justin, when he was studying stock in 2016, and we'll probably bring him on for a few minutes here. I'd love for you
Yeah.
to.
Come on, Justin. Let's
For
go.
sure, because we're getting to the point where it's like a dad listening to his son's advice. Let's go to this first event we went to, his fund launch with Bridger Pennington. Learned about private equity funds. Are you familiar with that?
Not really. That's
Yeah, you should
awesome
check
though.
it out. It was a
Okay.
great event for sure. It was a phenomenal networking event. And then we went to BP Con, and
Yeah.
that was 2023. So that was another good event. And that's when Pace and Jamil announced Squad Up Summit. That was the early bird special. And Pace was the most phenomenal speaker there and just held down a full 2,000 person room. And he took that, started Squad
Yeah.
Up Summit. There was 2,500 people there. I ended up getting on stage by the grace of our Lord and Savior, basically. It wasn't that they had chose me to be on stage. It was more so they made us fill something out at the beginning that if you've done over 50 deals or one
Yeah.
deal or 100, and Justin was almost at 100, so he was on for the 50 plus, and then the highest was 1,000 plus, so it was just me and Abraham and another guy.
Yeah. You were like one of 3 people up there at the end. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what that was about, and did that a long time ago in the loan business. But go ahead, brother.
That's awesome. Okay, so there's a lot of people that want to be doing what you're doing, whether it's the agent side of things or wholesaling, which maybe we should talk about. I should explain, like, agents are, typically listing houses on the MLS or helping you buy a house on the MLS. We call it, retail. Wholesalers are going direct to seller and getting a house under contract and then basically selling that contract. So they're basically just finding deals. Wholesalers are finding really good real estate deals for people like us, investors that want to buy and hold. And then they, take a $5,000, $10,000, maybe a $50,000 assignment fee. That's wholesaling. So I don't think we need to go into too much detail there, but a lot of people want to be doing what you're doing, John. And so I'm curious, what do you think sets you apart from the pack?
Yeah,
you're killing it, so what sets you apart?
Yeah, no, well, with Justin, we've tripled and quadrupled that, and that's really based on the networking. And like at the beginning, he would network on the phone a lot, and I'm like, dude, we talk to sellers all day, and I went to my first 6 sub 2 meetups, and then I missed like 1 or 2, and then I was like, man, I'd rather work on a Saturday, talk to the sellers, be on appointments, and I really hadn't fully bought into the networking aspect. So, and then I went back, and I already had built some, just some momentum with relationships. And what kind of does set me apart is maybe the experience, number one, really caring, I believe. And I think, realtors get a lot of bad name here and there because, you'll see a lot of that. But in reality, I've offered every single one of my clients I bought a house from to list their house. And then, so I've given them options. And now we also offer novations, which is the in-between where we can be a concierge service. And we do this nationwide. Just like our business, thanks to my son, all my business was in Michigan, was the networking. And, he wanted to join Sub 2 right when he got out of high school. And I said, I looked at it and I liked it because I've always been a super creative realtor. Actually, the Pickell method, which gets people out of pickles, is going to be in the vault in Sub 2. soon, and looking forward to that. And Justin's got a DTW type program that'll be coming out soon, and he already has shared it with a lot of people. There's a guy named Nick DeSimone. I want to drop his name. He's a super hardworking guy, and he closed his first 5 deals while he was working 12 hours a day on a construction job with a method that Justin taught him on dealing with other wholesalers. And
Man alive.
yeah, and I was like old school. Like I looked at a lot of things as daisy chaining. And like I just seen him make over 100,000 just dealing with other wholesalers and mixing in on their deals and bringing the buyer. And I don't even consider it daisy chaining anymore. I just consider it networking. And putting deals together.
That's cool. For the audience, what is daisy chaining? I mean, it has a bad reputation, but it sounds like you've, figured out, it's more networking than daisy chaining. But what exactly is daisy chaining?
Yeah, daisy chaining is when you are just latching on to other wholesalers' deals, and then there's like one, and there's another. So there's like 3 or 4 wholesalers all trying to sell the same deal, and everyone's trying to get a piece.
Yeah.
So we do it a little different because we're a super powerful dispo business that we built up through constantly investing in the business and top of the time.
A big buyers list.
Yeah. Well, we got cartel mode on Investor Lift, and we had to do 6 figures a month plus in revenue for over 6 months, and it's a $50,000 a year fee with only 50 wholesale companies in the country that have it in the world.
50 wholesale companies have that?
Yep.
That's crazy. Yeah, you got a powerful dispo.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, what would you say, John, is the best financial decision you have made in your life?
Yeah, right now, based on I think is the most recent one is this mobile home park that we picked up at a very good
talk
deal.
About it.
Yeah, we purchased it for $155,000, and we're expecting to have in between 1 and 1.2 million into it after everything's done. There's 20 homes there now. There's 8 currently rented. Another one will be rented here shortly. Then another 4 are pretty much done, close to being rented. Get those other ones done while we're working on the infrastructure, and we're expecting it to be worth between 2 to 2.4 million once it's all said and done. So it's a really thankful moment, thankful to the creator of the universe, Jesus Christ, and the Lord and God and everything else, because you really want to be able to, it's still a lot of work in progress, but number one, we're doing something great for society. It's like, you're prettying up the area and you're providing affordable living. And then number 2, to be able to have something that is a generational wealth piece that can continue on residually, and you can continue to grow from that to more. And so as from a residual standpoint, that's it. I've also really
what's going to be the residual on that once it's all done?
I think after all the bills, it should be right in the 20,000 range.
20,000, basically passive. Completely passive, $20,000 a month.
Yeah.
Sick, dude.
Yeah, so we're definitely excited about that.
That's awesome. Okay, and then speaking of, beautifying the city, fixing things up, leaving a legacy, what does that mean for you within the realm of, real estate, mobile home park? You got your son involved, financially, spiritually, maybe. What does that mean to you?
It means everything, man. That's a phenomenal question because, I grew up in a house in a 1,000 square foot home with like 11 people in it. Wow. My dad and mom got divorced at a young age, and it just means everything because I didn't really have that tight relationship with my dad. I did with my dad's dad, my grandpa Jerry. He was definitely a mentor in morals, ethics, and doing the right thing, and focused on longevity and goals, and introduced me to Earl Nightingale. I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, but he's one of the OG original gurus online. Gotcha. Just breaking it down like an early Tony Robbins type thing, and pretty amazing.
That's awesome.
There was a set of tapes he gave me called "We Become What We Think About." So, yeah, just super thankful to just be there for my children. I got 2 daughters in college. One of them's already closed 3 deals in real estate, and I have a 16-year-old who wants a Bronco, and she's been hunting down wholesalers herself. So you put everyone to work and teach them independence, and that's one of the most proud things, as well as really being strong with my kids and making sure that they're building their own independence and that nothing's for free.
Yeah. What's it like working with Justin, and how did you instill that work ethic in him?
Whew, honestly, like you would, it's just, it's, I could take some of the credit, overall just from working hard and stuff, but, he went from listening to Kodak Black, and different music to, me telling him to read books, to him just pushing me off, to basically one day he read a book by Jim Quick, Limitless.
Yeah.
And that book changed his whole mentality, and like it changed his whole everything. And he learned how to learn. He started caring about learning. His bookshelf has like 100 on there right now, and he's been totally on a mission. Like I feel like with my grandpa giving me that Earl Nightingale, and I did push a lot of Les Brown, Jim Rohn. I'd be playing it on the way to basketball practice, and all throughout the years, and they never really liked it, but I would still play it. And now he is just like literally, like he's so engulfed in that life on a deeper level, where I would just bounce back a lot from that to music to hanging out during my 20s to more really just dialed in on health, wealth, and success, and knowing all that other stuff is going to follow, and really just wanting a family, and not chase women on the weekends, and really just attract more. And overall, that I'm super proud of that. But what sparked that, he was in the stock market group. It was when at 16, and then right before he graduated high school, I had given him some leads from a company called All the Leads, who I was working with for like a few years. They have nothing but probate leads. So that was another shift in my business in 2019. I'd still get listings, but it would only be mainly off distressed sellers and past clients. But as for him, it was a tough list. I knew it was a tough list. Their skip tracing wasn't all that. I think it might be better now. I might give him a try, but we'll see. Overall, it was really tough. But I said, even if you get one deal a month, you know what I mean? That could be 5 to 10,000. I mean, like, you're still in high school. So I wanted it to be tough, but he found an easier way, and he ended up finding. He first found Jerry Norton early May, and then he found Pace. And he started finding different ways to do it, and he started networking, and he wanted us to join Sub 2. It took him 4 months to close his first deal, and that's when we joined Sub 2. We paid $8,800, $2,200 a month in the mix of all our other bills and life and investing in the business. And basically, it consistently grew from there. That was November 2022. Then we became leaders with Gabriella Diku. Last year, she thought it was best because Justin closed like 40 of his first Sub 2 deals on his own without me.
My goodness, dude. That's crazy. How old is he?
He's 20 now. He's 20 now.
20.
So maybe you do a solo podcast with him.
So why don't you? Yeah, well, we can bring him on here in a second, or I can interview him on a different day. But what would you? I mean, I know that you give Justin a lot of credit for changing his mindset, reading the right stuff. But what would you say to like a 16, 18, 20-year-old dude who doesn't have the maybe upbringing that Justin did, who doesn't have it sounds like you didn't really give Justin much to start with, which I think is great, but like someone with no money, no background, no experience, what kind of advice would you give them? Sounds like has a lot to do with mindset, but I'll let you answer.
Yeah, 100%. And start with that book Limitless, and learn how to learn if you hated school like he did, overall. And he's
love it.
That would be it. And then basically start listening to valuable information, like jumping on this Legacy Investor podcast with an awesome human being, Cameron Philgreen, rocking the house smoke. Congratulations, bro. And I see all the great things you're doing online. You got a great family. You're a great man of God, and it's really commendable, brother.
Thanks, man.
This podcast is going to be amazing. It is amazing.
Thanks, man. I'm excited. I'm excited to just have conversations with people like you. It's awesome. Okay, last couple things here. And then, I think maybe I'll just interview Justin on a different day. Is that all right?
Yeah.
We'll set up a separate.
I feel like a part 1 and part 2 is something.
Yeah, I love it because I'm trying to keep him like 40 minutes. So I'd like to chat with him longer. All right. And then John, what do you feel like are some habits that you've formed that have really influenced your life, whether it's like personal life, your business, just give us like the day to day in John Pickell's life and what habits you've formed.
Yeah. Um, Overall, putting people first. I never really loved houses or loved kitchens and bathrooms. That stuff really didn't excite me. But when it came down to loving the livelihood enough, it was really about helping that person get what they need. And I think I've dedicated. I've only been with Remax for over 7 years. I've got some good awards. I am a Hall of Fame agent with them. So I take a lot of pride that I service those people, whether I maxed out their bottom line using the Pickell method, which is bringing a cash investor to buy a house and sell it to the next person who doesn't have credit or income. So to break that down in a short story, so going the extra mile for each person, not coming along saying, "Hey, I closed 100 million," which I, probably pushing that in real estate, but in the loan business, that's a whole nother story in wholesaling. But overall, some people are closing 100 million a month. They have teams, they have way more. But what means the most is the habits of really caring about each person and really trying to make a major impact on that seller and that buyer. And then
that's so good.
Yeah. And then
the habit of caring about each person. How do you do that, man? You just, every person you meet, you just are like, I'm going to care about this person right in front of me. I mean, what do you do? What do you think?
Yeah, well, it's not always been that way, but overall, just read a lot of good books. Think and Grow Rich is one that really teaches you to just treat every single person as the best. I've always respected everyone from the janitor to the president of the company when it comes to a smile and a handshake or a hug. So that's a part of it, but really, really digging into that moment at hand and being caring for that situation, whether you're rooting someone on and you're positive or you're just crying with someone because they need you to be there for them. And you feel
man. Yeah. That's beautiful. That's a great habit to form. Let us all form that habit. That's awesome. I was going to ask, or go ahead.
Pardon me. And literally it all comes down to having read the Bible and really understanding Jesus's counsel in a deep fashion. Not that I'm perfect and I still make mistakes, but to understand that is to think about your long-term goals, think about your big purpose, think about storing up treasure in heaven, not only on earth.
Yeah.
Really basically just understanding a lot of the counsel, like doing good to people that use you, love your enemies on a deep level. If you could do some of those things, at a minimum, walk away from an argument, walk away from a fight. It doesn't mean you have to hug and kiss the person if it's a right there. That could be loving your enemies as well, just walking away from something. So
love it.
We got to praise that.
I love it. What does it mean to you to what did you say? You said what does it mean to you to store up treasure in heaven?
Yeah, it means doing it's basically revolves around integrity. Number one, doing things when no one's looking, and not expecting anything in return, and just going the extra mile on with it. It just means everything in reality, because you can only, no matter what you're going to build here, you're not taking it with you. I know a lot of people. You look at different stories out there where people are billionaires and we're getting all this respect and worship and they could be behind bars right now because of different things that they did. And I'm not going to name any names in the entertainment industry, but you just look at that, and I kind of spotted those things years ago, and not to be the person that and that's why I respect Justin so much, because I was the person who would go to clubs, teen clubs, and 18 and up clubs, and trying to pick up chicks on the weekend and stuff. And it's understandable. It's part of life. But if you're able to like sit back and, maybe find a girl at church and, just go to the right places, the right networking events. And, now you've built a name within this community and like it's just a way different lifestyle than, even though I was making good money at 19, I was selling home improvement and making six figures. It was all about what I'm doing on the weekend or when I'm going on vacation. Let me have this nice, drop top Corvette at the age of 19 and, just things like that, where he's thinking more long-term. And there's a saying by Warren Buffett, learn from your mistakes, but better yet, learn from others. So he's definitely learned from a lot of mine.
Wow. That's so good, dude.
Just like the one in Waco that you've been helping me on.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. How did that deal come about?
Yeah, it's there was a young dude in sub two, had a guy who was making some calls, and as of right now, it's a mistake. I'm still gonna figure out a way out with great people like you. And thanks for your help, for sure, man. It came about through someone, and the guy had put up a $3,000 EMD, and we're trying to wholesale it. We're kind of close to wholesaling it. It seemed like it might have got wholesaled, basically
Ended up having to close on it and buy
What's
it.
that?
You ended up having to close on it.
Yeah, I should have just
Possession
lost
of it.
3,000 when looking back, but you can't look back. It was a great lesson. There's a lot of good things coming out of it now as well. So I didn't want to lose the 3,000, so I submitted the loan to a DSCR lender, and I submitted the budget too low. I was kind of looking for it to actually get killed, and I kind of wanted it to get approved. I kind of wanted to get killed, but my budget was low, as you saw. If it was higher, it might not have met the LTV, and then I could have got the denial and did that. But I know there's a bigger purpose. For every problem, there's an equal or greater benefit.
Totally, man. All the failures, I mean, not that that's even a failure, but all the failures I've made. Also, sorry, my kids are trying to get in the studio.
Sure. Bring them in, bro. Bring them in.
Maybe I will.
Yeah.
Every failure has led to so much learning, and like, I don't know, and it's not just learning, but it's like, I'll never make that mistake again. And I feel like my underwriting skills have gotten so much better. As I've made mistakes or ended up with more cash in the deal than I wanted. I always try to end up with zero of my own cash in the deal.
For sure.
Using Burr or Creative or whatever. So, and then on the no cash in the deal concept, just to kind of close this out here, talk about the Pickell method. I want to hear about this. What is this?
The Pickell method is not a no cash in the deal situation.
Okay. Tell us about it.
It can be for the right person, but it's more so if you were a buyer looking and you had 20 to 30,000, let's say, to put down, and you wanted it for a homestead, you want it to stay there for, it's usually a 6-year balloon. So you have that to put down. I show you the house, or I have another realtor show you the house. You say, I want it. I'm ready to put 5,000 down, non-refundable. I show it to the investor. Investor we like fixer uppers, because if that house is already remodeled, even that 20 to 30,000 you put down is gone, so if you mess up the kitchen, bathroom and stuff like that. So we really try to protect the investors as much as possible, which we do. So investor says, okay, I'll do it. We bring the investor in to buy it for 100,000 cash as is, and sell it to you immediately after for about 120 to 130 with a 9% rate, maybe 10, 6-year balloon. So unlike all the flipping lending and the pressure of short balloons, for a primary residence buyer. So we're going to be stacking up the lenders who want to be first lien holders,
right?
With somebody that's got major skin in the game. So
primary residence, but this is for people that like can't qualify for a conventional mortgage. That's what this
100%,
is for.
100%. That's exactly what it's for. And it's worked over and over. There were people in 2009, 10, 11, 12. I've done hundreds of these. There was a few people that would come along and say, no, that lender is a crook. I'm not doing it. But all the ones who did it made 100,000+ in equity and refinanced, or I sold those properties.
Yeah.
So it's the ones that didn't worry about what the investor's making that made out.
Wow, man. That's awesome. Dude, changing the world and changing people's lives. Like
Yeah, I'd love
that's
for you to get in on this. Imagine stacking up residual income nationwide through realtors who need help with funding. So we get
yeah,
them the funding, and then we also make money on the interest rate. We can. I've never done that, but that's ultimately the main goal is to make money on the interest as well.
that's awesome. Dude, I was just at in Phoenix last weekend with a girl named Renee. I think it's Renee Nelson, and she has been flipping mobile homes and she's doing great. She's only been doing it for about 12 months and she's done like 15 of these. But she's having a hard time finding lenders who will service these people because they're looking for affordable housing. They don't have great maybe credit. They can't they can't get approved for a conventional mortgage. So I'm going to connect you with her
Okay,
actually.
great.
And hey, if you're listening to this and you can't get approved for a conventional mortgage, or if you have a friend, it's hard these days, guys. And so this could be a great opportunity for you. So reach out to John Pickell. Instagram is at John Pickell1. Last name Pickell1. Reach out to him on Instagram. Any other ways that we can reach you?
John Pickell on Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok. John Pickell one as well.
There we go.
Coming out there.
John, thanks so much for coming on, man. I know you're a busy guy, and it was a blast to talk to you and get to know you. It's awesome, and we'll connect about the Waco house sometime soon.
Bro.
So.
It's been a pleasure, and I really appreciate you majorly for being there for me. And I definitely gotta look out for you.
Love it. All right. See you guys next time.
See ya. Legacy Podcast.